Estar. But maybe Rogue Warriors have a plan up their sleeves. You know, this is the new champion. There is plenty of... It's been out long enough for teams to have built strategies against it as well.
Well, we will have to see if that strategy is going to come out. They will be taking the Gragas. I do like that here. Does a good job of, you know, getting on top of these immobile AD carries, and Aphelios most certainly is one of them. Without the Calibrum available, he likes to be fairly close and personal in these team fights. So while Gragas Barrow could turn this back.
Yeah, we could see an Olaf. It's being hovered right now on the side of Estar, and that's actually going to be locked in, which is interesting, as that's kind of one of the pocket picks for Harrow, but he'd already locked in the Gragas. So Olaf, not a champion we saw yesterday, but I'm excited to see what Way can do on it.
Yeah, I'm also curious what their last pick here is going to be. I'd like to see something like the Leona locked in here, just to give you a good amount of engage in that bottom lane, and also just to pick it away, because Misfortune and Leona is such a potent combo to go up against. But looks like we are actually going to see them prioritize that Mordekaiser in, I'd imagine, the top lane for Xiaobai, but we have seen Doin be played in the mid lane yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, top lane and mid lane are relatively interchangeable at this point. We saw it all of last year, or at least the second half of last year. G2 are prolific at swapping those lanes, but during the World Championship, we saw just about every team in playoffs swapping between mid and top. That's still very much the case here.
Now that we've entered into the second draft phase, though, I'm looking at supports, and I'm also looking at if they are going to flex that Mordekaiser, because you've seen the Gangplank locked in for Rogue Warriors. Lucian is still up and available if they do want to flex this on Estar side, so they could end up with the Lucian into the Gangplank, which could work quite well for Xiaobai in the top lane. But they are instead prioritizing the likes of the Ryze, thinking, okay, this Mordekaiser is going towards that top lane.
Interesting that the Renekton is going to be banned here by Estars. They are very much aware that that can be flexed to the mid lane, very much aware that they could just swap around where the Gangplank goes as well. Like I said, top and mid kind of interchangeable. One of the other picks that is still available is that Aatrox. It was running rampant yesterday.
Yeah, that is very much still up and available if they do want to go towards it. I mean, you're going to be opting towards that double Bruiser style comp, and I feel like if you're going for Rogue Warriors side, having the MF maybe isn't enough to push you over the edge with that. So I'd imagine they want to pick up something a little bit more AP heavy and can be a secondary carry in the later stages of the game alongside that MF.
Well, it's going to be Nautilus locked in for Lei in that bottom lane. One of the incredibly strong supports that we've been seeing. Surprised that we didn't see Braum throughout this draft. Braum has been 100% present so far. It looks like he's not going to be in this game. Leona, though, will be the answer for the Nautilus.
Yeah, I mean, these are kind of the two, alongside Braum, top supports in that bottom side. So going to be just picking them up to make sure they're going to have a comfy time. But the final pick is going to be coming through. Will let us know exactly where this Mordekaiser is going to be going. It's going to be the Talia as well. I was looking at this. This is actually something that was played, I was going to say on the opposite side for Ruby, but it's not Ruby that's playing. It's Woomin actually in that mid lane. So we'll be looking at Crying to get out of this lane, start to look to see if he can get this Aphelios rolling nice and early, or even set up this Mordekaiser in the top lane, because every time you see a Talia, you know that there's going to be movements.
And immediately we see the Lucian locked in. That'll likely go towards the mid lane. We've seen Lucian as kind of a flex pick that's been AD carry mid lane, occasionally in the top lane as well. It looks like Woomin going to be taking that one on. And, you know, as a Talia, you want to be landing that knock-up. Lucian, the perfect champion for being able to dodge away from that skill.
Yeah, you've also got a huge amount of opportunity to go for these team fights when you're looking at the Rogue Warrior side. A great setup coming in with the Gragas cask, with the Nautilus there as well. You can leave Hodor off in a side lane to go for the split push and try and set you up for those engages. And a double AD setup means you are ripping through the health bars of several members on the Estars lineup. On the opposite side, I think we're going to be looking at very much a 1-3-1 style. You've got Talia and also the Mordekaiser, who do very well off by themselves, and then can quickly turn into, you know, a 4v3 in the mid lane with that Talia wall to bring you in.
Well, we're going to be seeing the Aphelios coming on into this one. I'm excited to see what Win can do with this alongside Shao Si, with a Leona as well. You can be very aggressive, and Aphelios, fantastic. Or Aphelios, I think, is the correct pronunciation. I keep saying it wrong, I think, but I'm excited to see that because he's got a lot of follow. If Leona goes in, Aphelios is going to be able to do a ton of damage, but also he has a good amount of utility to follow up, proc the sunlight, and get that CC down for a jungle that's coming.
And I think that's the biggest thing that we're seeing from Aphelios is the problem that he has so much built into his kit. He's kind of a jack of all trades. So you want to go for a siege, cool, I've got the Calibrum there. If you want to go for a team fight, I've got Infernum that can do a lot of damage. People are trying to run away. No, I got you with the Gravitum. It makes it so difficult to actually try and play around this AD carry, and you've got to be able to turn on a dime to be able to react to what this Aphelios wants to do.
Well, it's about time we find out what Wink is going to be able to do on the Aphelios pick. Still 100% presence in the LPL. I'm excited to see the jungle matchup as well. Wei against Harrow. Obviously, Harrow, we kind of know him for his invade style of jungling. He loves the Olaf pick himself. He loves to try and take away camps. Gragas, I'd expect him to be leaning more towards the gank style.
Yeah, most certainly, and I think that this is going to be a style that Harrow wants to try and go for, but we haven't seen a huge amount out of Harrow. I actually am looking kind of on a bit of a turnaround here because of Harrow's style, likes to go for the invades, but for me, looking at the Olaf and Wei, I think this actually might be a pretty dive-heavy style, particularly looking towards that bottom lane. You've got the Leona who can tank up the tower fairly effectively. You've also got Talia who can come down, get the Weaver's Wall in there to trap people nice and early underneath the turret. So I think this could actually be a pretty aggressive early game from Estars.
You can hear the fans there coming out in force for this match. I'm excited that there's so many fans coming in, especially Rogue Warriors and Estars. Estars, this is a brand new team, remember. We've already got some action up towards the top side of the map here. One kill has gone down, and importantly, Wooming grabbed that on the Lucian.
Yeah, it is going to at least set the AD carry Lucian in the mid lane ahead, but no investment of flashes, no summoner spells burned, so when it comes to the grand scheme of things, it's just a bit of extra gold going over towards the jungler, so it won't affect the early game too much. We are seeing though with the Olaf going for the invade on the bottom side here, it will be vertical jungling, and this kind of helps out Holder in the top lane. Xiao Bao would have loved to be able to go a little bit more aggressive in that top side of the map, but knowing that the Olaf is going to be on the bottom side, he'll need to play it safe for the moment.
We'll have to play safe for now, as we are going to, by the looks of things, have that kind of vertical split. But Wei has been found out, and Lei and Wuji going to be trying to answer for his invade. But that's a lot of very crucial information here, as Wooming maybe trying to pin him in.
It doesn't matter a huge amount though. I mean, they already knew that Wei was more than likely going for this. It's just more about, oh yeah, cool, we definitely know. And when it comes to Wuji and Lei in that bottom lane, they're going to be able to pick up the wave underneath the tower anyway. They kind of wanted to leave it to let it push so they weren't open and available to a gank coming through from Wei. So all said and done, it's going to be standard start coming across. Although as I say that Wei, he's going to make his presence known as he makes his way across the mid lane.
Yeah, and you can see Wooming there showing the reason that this Lucian is such a popular pick right now. Not only is it incredibly strong in terms of what it can build right now, the damage it can put out, but also incredibly safe pick in the mid lane. But speaking of safe, that's exactly what Lei and Wuji are not right now. We're going for a tier 2 dive at this stage. Seismic Shove not going to land, but that's not going to matter as Wink grabs a kill on Aphelios.
Yeah, Lei actually didn't have his flash from the original play in the early stage of the game, but Holder.
Is Holder going to go down here? We're going to see Xiao Bai trying to force the issue. Tanked a lot of minions, though. Did take a good chunk of damage back.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I wanted to see out of Estars in the early stages of the game. We talked about Cryin already being able to move. I thought we'd see it at the level 6 when the Weaver's Wall was available, but they're like, do you know what? No, we want to shut down this MF early. We know that Zhang Wuji has been a very big carry for Rogue Warriors, so let's just make sure he's having the least fun possible in this bottom lane.
We'll see what he's going to be able to do. Look, I mean, just look at the CS numbers right now. Wink is on 22 CS. Zhang Wuji is on 8. That is a brutal lead, and it's all because of that 4-man play down towards the bottom side, but it's going to be incredibly tough for Zhang Wuji to be able to get back into that bottom lane.
Now, I don't think you're really going to be able to get back into the bottom lane too easily, especially if Wei is going to continue to pressure on this bottom side. Can now go back towards his red, and with the wave in the position that it's in, it opens it up for Wei to go for another gank. You can actually see Lei is thinking the exact same thing as he tries to ward up the river to make sure they can stay safe.
Crying going to be in the mid lane, just trying to freeze the wave up as much as he can, trying to force. Oh, nice little seismic shove there into Wooming. Just managed to get a good amount of harass there, but Wooming going to be able to shove this underneath the turret, reset the wave for himself.
Yeah, will be totally fine and able to back away. Same, I think, is going to happen on that top side of the map as well for Holder. In the long run, Holder having this much time. Ooh, yeah,
Late does manage to pull himself to safety though.
But on the top side of the map, I think Holder will actually be pretty happy with the way things are going. I know it's like sacrifice the bottom lane a little bit right now, but if Holder is able to get ahead, he will eventually beat out Mordekaiser in this side lane. And as we're already talking about, if you can start to create pressure with this Gangplank, have that global ultimate available, Rogue Warriors can have this like half an extra man in team fights that could be enough to swing it. They just have to make sure they're not completely falling behind in this bottom lane.
Xiaoxi going to be roaming up towards the mid lane. He's spotted Wooming, who does not have the information that Xiaoxi's there right now. If Wooming steps up back towards mid, he might get engaged on. Zenith Blade goes out. It's going to be immediate flash. Great respect there from Wooming.
Well, we wanted to know what Estars were going to be like in the early stages of the game. Well, we got our answer. This is sheer aggression across the map. Everyone moving, and now they're moving towards the Drake.
Here we go. Drake started up 4 members strong for Estar here, and they're going to be able to grab this objective for themselves. Great early presence from them. And there's not really much of a response available right now for Rogue Warriors.
No, there really isn't, and it is going to be that Ocean Drake coming up second as well. So this is really where I'm going to be looking at both these teams to try and fight for. It was gifted a bit over towards Estars for that first dragon, but with the Ocean there, you want to make sure you're getting that regen, you're getting a lot of those extra stats coming in just for those team fights.
You can see that the early pressure from Wei around the entire map so far has been just fantastic. And you know, it's really important now that Estar have managed to grab this early lead for themselves, because you have to bear in mind, they went down on the first blood. That first kill went the way of Wooming.
I'm also looking, as you just mentioned, Wei. Harrow, who we thought was going to be... I'm going to hold on to my points.
Oh my goodness, flash for the smite. Seismic shove will land. It actually means that Xiaoxi misses his Zenith Blade. He goes down to the turret. Somehow it's traded 1 for 1.
Yeah, they unfortunately going that little bit too far. I think Xiaoxi could have just backed away in that scenario. Enough damage coming through from the jungler and from the mid laner, but we'll be able to turn this around. The reason this keeps happening is that Rogue Warriors in the bottom lane have just pretty much lost all control. They don't want to push up too far because they're afraid that Wei is going to make his way in, but it means that it's opening up Xiaoxi to go for these roams. And Wink, as you can see, is perfectly fine farming away, has the Sentry there and that lifesteal to take away the Krugs, and now he'll be able to pick up this nice big juicy wave.
You can see the power of Aphelios there as he's comboing these abilities. When you have Sever him out, that's the Scythe pistols that gives you a bit of lifesteal. The Q ability Onslaught means you'll keep blasting nearby targets. If you have Infernum in your offhand at that point, each and every single one of those blasts will be AoE. It will splash onto the entire minion wave. So Aphelios, if he has the right weapons out, has incredibly strong wave.
Well, we are going to look at Holder in the top lane, but yeah, I'm looking at it kind of like almost like a fighting game. It's like combo for all the different stuff that Aphelios can do. The big one that you want to try and get your hands on in these team fights is going to be Infernum, and trying to match it with something like the Calibrum, or even if you want to, really the Gravitum as well for one Graviton, big AoE stun or a slow for a lot of people. But also if you got the Calibrum there, you launch in your Moonlight Vigil, you can get a lot of damage in a big AoE area, which you can then follow up with a Calibrum long shot, and that is a lot of damage to come down very, very quickly. But we are going to see on the screen, Estars managed to nick away this Rift Herald. It is going to give a bit of time to Zhao Wuji in lane, this bottom lane, to pick up some of these turret platings, and in the long run, this actually isn't very favorable for Estars. You're getting 2 plates minimum on the bottom side of the map, and realistically, with the changes that we've seen to Rift Herald, you're going to only get about 2 plates. If you're ahead, maybe you can push for a third, but it's not really the best for the time sink that you put into that Rift Herald.
It's interesting though, they've actually used this to force a lane swap as well. It's going to be Zhao Bai stepping into that bottom lane. In the meantime, Wink has moved up towards the top side off the back of the Rift Herald. Now he's going to shove that minion wave into the tower and look to get some plates himself.
I thought they were going to try, Estars were going to try and use this to, you know, accelerate the game a little bit. They don't really need to. They've got decent scaling because we've got the Aphelios there. You've also got the Mordekaiser, who will just become a very bit of a beast in these team fights as well if he wants to. But they don't really have to go, sorry, I'm repeating myself here. They don't have to go for that over-aggressive style if they don't want to, because they've got that late-game scaling. You've got the Misfortune and the Lucian as well, who will hit this mid-game stride and then start to fall off. So realistically, it's Rogue Warriors who would love to start moving this map and starting to get these turret plates and turrets down. So I feel like Estars are just kind of giving them that opportunity with moving the bottom lane up towards the top side of the map.
I have to say, I'm impressed by Wooming so far. The amount of presence that Estar have sent towards this mid lane, he's actually doing a really good job when it comes to KDA, when it comes to the CS. He's got 2 kills on the board already, but he's staying even in CS as well. Even though Cryin is getting so much attention from his team. And speaking of that attention, now Herald comes down in the mid lane.
Yeah, they are going to try and push this down. Multiple members are here from Rogue Warriors, though, so not really going to be able to follow up too much on that.
Hey, man. Xiaoxi's loving it, though. He just steps on up right in range, just grabs himself 240 gold. He's going to be more than happy with that.
I know, but I mean, is it really the Leona support that you want to get this going on?
Xiaoxi would say yes. Xiaoxi believes that is the
Look,
case.
as a support main, I'm totally fine with that as well. Like, this is where, you know, you've got like a 10-second window before everyone comes back to lane, so you're just farming up the mid lane as a support, but realistically, they would have liked that to be going towards Wing, or even Cryin, just to give that to Leah a little bit more of an advantage, so then she can have more of an impact when she goes for these roaming plays. But Xiaoxi is hovering here. They know there's several members of Rogue Warriors just hiding in the jungle.
Now towards the mid lane, Estar trying to force the issue here. And this is somewhat becoming a bit of an A-ramp, honestly. Everybody's sort of sending everyone to the mid lane, looking for a team fight.
I think they wanted the Rift Tower to try and force a couple of members from Rogue Warriors to react and try and catch them out in the mid lane so they could turn over towards the Ocean Drake, but it hasn't really worked out because unfortunately Rift Tower doesn't really have the health that it used to back on seasons past. But play goes for the engage.
Here we go, nice little hook onto Xiaoxi. He is so damn tanky. Eclipse onto just a couple though. There's no follow-up from Estar. Just a nice easy pick onto Xiaoxi.
The rest of Estar were off trying to get vision control in around Dragon, so it looked like Estars thought they were safe in the bush, but unfortunately Rogue Warriors were able to sniff them out, find the engage, and now they've got control around this Dragon Pit. Estars are still hovering, but without Xiaoxi there, I don't think they can take this fight.
Yeah, this is going to be a nice quick start here for the side of Rogue Warriors. See if they can grab that one. Looks like no real contest coming out from Estar. Looks like that is going to be one each on the Dragons for now. I was curious to see if Estar, they look like they maybe want to try and pick off a straggler. Actually, Women going to be able to get away on the Blast Cone. 3 members underneath this mid lane tower. Estar starting to pressure. Xiaoxi has returned. Does not have his ultimate available though. Looks like Estar will back away.
And Estars continue the Ray-Ram in the mid lane, but unfortunately with the members from Rogue Warriors who are there, they're not quite able to get the tower that they would have liked. Rogue Warriors clear out the wave. You've also got Haru who managed to get a back off very quickly while they're clearing out the minion wave, so he's back on the map and now could try and maybe make a play as we look towards Estars for Wink and Xiaoxi moving up towards that top lane.
Yeah, we'll take a look at some of the gold differentials across the board. Certainly in that mid lane, there's a healthy chunk in favor of Wooming. Down towards the bot side, kind of going the other way towards Wink.
The two that I'm looking at here are going to be the Lucian and also that Gangplank on Rogue Warriors. Holder is starting to get himself a nice little gold lead there when he hasn't massively been involved in any of these plays, has been more looking towards that lane, has just finished his Triforce as well off of that back, so he's in a pretty decent position. Because he's got the remove Scurvy there, can just get rid of any of that Mordekaiser ultimate, no Realm of Death for the Pirate, and that's going to start to influence these side lanes very heavily in Rogue Warriors' favor. You pair that alongside a Lucian who can throw down a quick culling to take the health off of pretty much any member of Estars, and you've got 2 very potent lane pushes that can come in.
You really do, and that's one of the things we really need to emphasize is the amount of push available there. But I mean, we've got decent wave clear on both sides of the board, so I don't think this is going to really be a game about sieging at the end of the day. When you look at not just the compositions here, but the way that these two teams have been playing so far, they're looking for skirmishes. They're looking for ways to force the enemy to fight them.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the E in Estar is standard for evade, because all they're doing is hiding these bushes all day, but it does open up Rogue Warriors to start pushing in on this mid lane. Could get collapsed on from the top side though. Xiaoxi has made his way over.
Wink can't quite find the moonshot there. And in the meantime, Holder is just pushing away in this bottom lane. Estar kind of need to make something happen while they've got a 4v5 available to them, because Xiaobai is coming in from the bottom side. Might be able to find a flank, maybe could find Lei or Wooming. That's going to be the grasp onto Lei, but immediately Dredgeline straight back out of the fight. Wooming gets the culling across. Nothing happens at the end of the day.
And Rogue Warriors are under no pressure to make something happen right now. You've got Holder in that bottom lane pushing in. He's going to be able to pick up at least a little bit of damage on this bottom lane turret, although he does go for Xiaobai in the jungle.
Xiaobai going to be able to get away with the blast cone though. In the meantime, Wei going to be going for this second Rift Herald for themselves, which at least they'll be able to kind of double down on that objective. Wei has been doing a really, really good job of focusing on the objectives so far this game, but in the meantime, it's, you know, what is the cost of going for this? How much are you going to get off of the Rift Herald, and how much are you going to lose?
They do pick up the second Rift Herald, so they might be able to take the top lane turret, but realistically, I mean, if you're trading a bottom lane turret already, and now you're just getting that Rift Herald to take the top lane turret, you're behind on the play, you're behind on tempo, and you're not really in a position to take control of this game. And Rogue Warriors are going to be pretty happy to now go, okay, cool, we see two members top, let's run it through our mid lane and see if we can pick up this mid lane turret.
Harrow going to be having a whale of a time. He took away the Crooks. Now he's going to be taking away the red buff as well. He knows that Wei was up towards the top side. He knows that they were going for Herald, which means he has access to this entire bot side jungle. Does now need to be careful how much he goes for, as Wei going to be back on the map down in the bottom side there.
I'm really not understanding why Estars are going for this all-mid kind of style. I mean, we had Crying up in the top lane for a little bit there, but they haven't been utilizing the Weaver's Wall. We haven't seen it pretty much at all this game used to try and get a man advantage. Now we're getting Rift Herald just tossed down in the mid lane. Yes, it'll get the turret, but you haven't really got the side lanes open yet to try and utilize this 1-3-1 that we were talking about, so a bit of a curiosity here for me.
Yeah, we'll see what they're going to do, and it feels like Estar, you know, they made some aggressive plays early. They've not really been doing the same since those early game plays, but I want to bring everyone's attention to the fact that we're starting to get some items completed, and we might just have a fight already kicking off. Wink has his Essence Reaver there, so this Aphelios is going to do a lot.
10 seconds until that Infernal Drake as well, so both these teams are going to be trying to jostle for position.
Oh, Harrow going for the engage hit. Knocks Xiaobai back into his team, though. Good attempt from Lei to follow up on the engage there, but that is going to be a huge ultimate. The explosive cast used by Harrow right as Infernal Drake spawns.
It is also Xiaobai down below half health, though, and yes, he's got the Death Realm available, but even when he goes in, will die.
Here we go, Solar Flare goes on down. Xiaoxi actually going to go into Zhonya's for a second. Bullet time should finish him off. It's 1-for-1 so far. Not enough damage coming out from Wink there with the Moonlight Visual. Had Infernum as well, but nobody grouped up for that one. Skullcrab goes down. Xiaobai going to be the next target as he goes in onto Lei. They're in the realm of death right there. He's going to be knocked up. Not quite able to finish off the kill, though. Xiaobai, 1v4 right now. Gets one in the end with his passive, but that's going to be it as Wink goes on in. Wuji going to be trying to finish off the kill, but he goes gold. Now Wooming the next one. Everybody's solo. Holder goes down, and it's all about Wink, baby. Wuji has to run away.
And they do manage to pick up the team fight win for Estars in what was a very messy beginning to that. Xiaobai was low, Xiaoxi the first one to go down, but they just about managed to pick up the damage to take down Rogue Warriors. Fortunately though, with both junglers down, well, with Wei still down for the moment, they're not going to be able to turn on towards this Drake, and I think it's ding 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 round 2 as Harrow has made his way over towards this Infernal Drake.
I'm not sure how much of a contest we're going to get here coming out from Estar, although Harrow deciding he doesn't want to commit to that objective just yet. Going to go back to Grom. And I think you might be right. Both teams going to start to move towards the objective once again. And let's take another look at that fight, because it was a messy fight.
I think the biggest factor here is just how deep Xiaoxi goes without the support of his team. You've only really got Crying who can help you over that wall. Wink could actually turn back to try and help onto the Raptors. So the follow-up wasn't really there. Xiaoxi goes down, but once you start to group up like this, watch Wink. He's got so much damage right now. The Infernum is available, so if you're going to group into small areas like this, that AoE is going to rip you apart. And that's essentially what we see through here. The AoE and the Severum are just way too much for the likes of Rogue Warriors to deal with.
Women going down towards the end of it as well. And Wink, I mean, that's the key thing, right? Wink was kind of untouched for the vast majority of that fight. He was able to just free fire, swap between those weapons, get the damage out. Most importantly as well, he had Infernum available as his side weapon for most of that fight, so he's getting a good amount of AoE down. In go with the supports though, Lei on the front line. The grasp doesn't land onto anyone, and bullet time, not going to do too much. Xiaoxi finally goes down. He's the only target. Wei going to be the next one. The Dragon did get picked up by Estars. Most importantly, Wink trying to finish off the kill. The Moonshot will do the job. He's on the wrong side of the map though. Xiaobai going to be going that way to try and support his AD carry here. Cryan and Xiaobai now going to be chased on down. Invincible will keep him alive for now as he goes into the realm of death as well. Holder might just go down. Will keep himself alive, but only just. And Wink walks away with the blue buff.
Again, we're seeing these scraps over the Infernal Drakes, but this time Rogue Warriors are able to pick up the team fight, but the Dragon, most crucially, did go over towards Estars. And again, you're kind of looking at these fights split out all over the place. It wasn't the best of Moonlight Vigils coming in from Wink. He couldn't get the damage onto multiple people, even with the last burst of Infernum that he had available. And that meant that once that big ultimate's down, it hasn't really connected in the way you wanted. The rest of Rogue Warriors can start to go forward. Wei is still trying to finish off this Dragon in the pit, and it opens up the rest of Rogue Warriors to collapse. But you can see here, the Infernum only hitting onto Wuji. The Moonlight Vigil with Infernum only hitting onto Wuji meant that they didn't really have the burst AoE damage that they were trying to rely on, and Rogue Warriors can then chase down the low health members of Estars.
Yeah, and I think, bear in mind that Rogue Warriors, they only just win this team fight, but that's with Zhang Wuji only managing to hit his bullet time onto Xiaoxi. That's the second team fight in a row where that's been the only target for bullet time. If we get to see Zhang Wuji hit multiple members with that bullet time, that is going to blow these team fights wide open for Rogue Warriors.
Well, team fights are definitely still going to be on the cards. Baron has spawned, and you can see both teams are trying to set up vision controlling around that area. Looks like maybe Stars are starting to opt into this 1-3-1, but Cryan goes, you know what? I just want to try and join our team right now. The Weaver's Wall is gone out.
Yeah, it's going to block Holder for now, but he can get away from that one. Good damage from the Infernum, though. Lei will survive. And all things considered, it's only Xiaoxi that goes down. There's Wei going golden here as Holder going to try and finish off the kill. It's going to be Wuji who picks up the credit there. 2 for 1.
Unfortunately, there's just no one really tanky enough on Estars to try and make headway through this bullet time, through the Colleen, and also through Harrow, because you've got Olaf who's gone for the full AD build. You've got the Mordekaiser as well, who hasn't got the tankiest of builds in that top lane. So overall, you end up just giving a huge amount of damage over towards the 2 AD carries, and unfortunately means Wink can't get anywhere near these fights to try and dish out the damage that he needs.
And I think one thing we've yet to really mention is been kind of sneaking along through these fights. Holder is getting real strong there in the top lane. 4, 1, and 3 on this gangplank. He has a 50 CS lead. He's already got his Triforce. Now he's looking with he's already got 2 more tier 2 items right there. He's going to be finishing those off shortly. This is getting to be a real terror in the side lane.
Yeah, Essence Reaver about to be completed for the Gangplank. Has been having a field day this whole game. He's just been sitting off in the side lane. Xiao Bao and Cryan have decided to walk over towards most of these fights, so he hasn't really needed to use his teleport. And when you've got the likes of Harrow there with the explosive cask, great disengage tool, same with a lot of the ultimates that are available, such as Woomings and the Culling, you're looking at a very dangerous pirate who's gotten control now of this side lane. Can't fight, or the Mordekaiser cannot fight against them. So now you've got a secondary win condition that's starting to pop up on Rogue Warrior's side, where it's split push and also the team fights that are going their way.
It has to be mentioned as well, both of these AD carries so far, both Wink and Wuji, not got a single death on them. They're both getting incredibly fed. They're both getting incredibly strong. But Wink has just finished his IE, and we'll see if that changes this fight. Bullet time going to be cancelled there, but did a good amount of damage to Wink, who goes down. Wooming doing so much work on the backline. He'll be finished off, though. It's 1 for 1 there on the backline. In the meantime, Obliterate comes on through. And it's going to be Harrow trying to walk away with his life. Lei finishes off the kill before he'll go down as well. Estar are winning the fight. Double kill for Xiaobai, and now to the mid lane.
I do not know how they ended up winning that fight. Lei gets over the wall, they jump onto Wink, and Estars look like they're up a creek without a paddle, but they're able to turn that fight around. Wei does a decent job of keeping Holder out on the side, and that gives the opportunity for Xiao Bai to finish off the members of Rogue Warriors. But that was looking like such a good play from Lei, but it all falls short. You can see here, Wink doesn't have the opportunity to use that Infinity Edge you pointed out, Munch, because he's deleted straight off the bat. And then on the top side, you can see Holder is trying to deal with Wei. So Xiao Bai is just free to go onto Harrow, get onto the rest of Rogue Warriors here as well. And it's open season for the top laner of Estars.
Yeah, it feels like Rogue Warriors just not quite on the same page as one another. Wuji is getting his bullet time down onto Ink. In the meantime, Harrow actually gets him away with the explosive cast. Speaking of Harrow, he's going to have to flash away for his life as the rest of his team's starting to collapse now. We're going to be clearing away vision. Another Infernal Drake on the map. Estar already have one for themselves. They're in position to grab a second one. There's no contest available right here. And once again, Wei showing that he is all about these objectives.
And it does mean now, the 30-minute mark, that there will be the Infernal Soul win condition.
Oh my God. Going to be locked on down. There's no way out of it for you, my friend. That's going to be Crying, grabbing himself a free kill off the back of the dragon. And now pings towards Baron.
Wooman wondering what he's blooming doing over on that side of the map, because that was not where he wanted to be. But now you've, as you said, got to be able to turn over towards Baron for Estars. This is not looking too hot for Rogue Warriors, and Estars coming into their first game of the LPL and might be able to come out with a victory.
And this is a team that, you know, there are basically no expectations on positive or negative. Like, nobody really knows what to expect from this squad. Now on to Baron. Harrow is alive. He's got his smite, and he's ready to jump across that wall and go for a steal if he can get it onto Lei, though. Aftershock will keep him alive for now, but that's going to be pulled back on in, and Wink grabs yet another kill for himself. The rest of the team start to respawn, though, and heading on in for this fight.
Yeah, Lei's the friend who got caught shoplifting there, and everyone ditched him going, cool, we're going to see you in school, buddy, but might be one more picked up.
Xiaoxi doesn't have any mana, so might end up going down here. Harrow, though, going to be the target. Bullet time goes across, and it's actually going the way of Rogue Warriors right now. It's going to be a bit of a trade as Wink trying to get some damage down here. He needs to finish off some of these kills. Infernum goes nuts. And Holder now trying to finish the drop, trying to do whatever he can. He's fed, but how fed? Manages to finish one off for himself. Crying can't quite find threaded volley. Xiao Bai going to be slowed. Weaver's Wall, though, will find the kill. It's traded. And oh my God, Holder saves the day.
And Xiao Bai standing there with his hands up going, where'd everyone go? Because that fight was absolutely nuts. Wink, as you pointed out, the Moonlight Vigil able to get the damage down that they really wanted to turn that fight around, particularly in that close jungle corridor. But that was very, very messy, and a decent job from Rogue Warriors to be able to turn it around in a 4v5 scenario. You can see Xiaoxi goes in very aggressive again, but watch where the AD carry, where Crying are. They're not in a position to try and follow up with Xiaoxi's overly long engage. But once Wink does get there, Inferno with the Moonlight Vigil rips through everyone, and they are able to finish off the kills.
I love that Holder just like charges through the fight at the end there. He's like, I'm going to finish this kill if it's the end of me. It was the end of him, but it was the end of Crying too, so he's going to be happy with the way that one turned out in the end.
Now we get, again, I feel like it's going to be rinse and repeat, ding ding, round 2 for this Baron, because everyone is once again grouping here. Xiaoxi a little bit separated from his team, does need to be careful that it doesn't get engaged upon, but luckily Rogue Warriors are not deciding to try and dive in on top of him just yet.
Well, looking across the board here, both AD carries on pretty much exactly the same items here. Neither of them finished off their Zeal item just yet. They've got the IE, they've got the Essence Reaver. We'll see what they're going to go for next on their builds. Likely something like a Phantom Dancer or maybe the Rapid Fire Cannon. We'll have to see.
I'm glad we're 28 minutes into the game and now we're getting bottom lane tier 1 going down. Yeah, this has not been the focus of either of these teams too much so far. Has very much been in and around these big objectives, not fighting for the towers, but mostly the dragons, for the Rift Heralds, for the Barons, has led to a pretty bloody game so far.
Yeah, and when we look towards the top lane as well, we were mentioning Holder. Obviously, he's pretty fed. He has been for a while. Xiao Bai is starting to catch up, though. Maybe not in CS, but when it comes to the score, 5-2-5, he's got a bounty for himself as well. And in the mid lane, Crying is doing amazing.
Yeah, and I'd like to see Crying, though, move off into a side lane now. I've already talked about it. I feel like a little bit of a broken record. getting this Talia into a side lane to start a split push will draw the likes of Woomin up that direction, and then you can start to turn these fights around. You can see how quickly they can engage when given the opportunity on Estar's side, but again, we're seeing Crying with the team not looking for these flanks, not looking to create pressure in the side lanes.
Well, 18-17 on the scoreboard. The gold lead, about 2,000 in favor of Estar, which at 30 minutes, basically negligible. It's 3 towers to 1. But those Infernal Drakes are what I want you guys to look at, because there's a third one about to spawn 30 seconds away. And if Estars can grab it, not only will they get a 4th Drake for themselves, but they'll be looking towards that soul.
Yeah, the Infernal Soul is going to be very good for these guys. The AoE damage can do a lot of work, particularly as we already saw in these tight jungle corridors. And speaking of corridors...
Holder's getting a little bit greedy here. He's going to be punished for that one. The Wolf was not worth it. Xiaoxi will comfortably survive the culling. Oh my goodness, the Moonlight Vigil. It's not enough to finish anyone off, but it's enough to deter them from the contest.
Definitely will, but they're actually starting to make their way towards Baron. They're going to see if Harrow can back and run over towards this objective, although seems to be a very split call coming in. Woomin is going up towards the top side of the map. He wants to try and clear out that wave, and Rogue Warriors instead just want to get vision control around the objective.
And you can see the Dragon Soul adding to the AoE of Infernum. It's going to be the Hurricane finished off now for Wink, so if he wasn't doing enough AoE already, he will be now. And it looks like Rogue Warriors not willing to commit to the Baron immediately. They just wanted to get some vision so that they can contest. But I don't know how contestable this is anymore. Even though the gold is close, even though everything else has been close, those 3 Infernal Drakes plus a soul, suddenly team fighting doesn't look so hot.
Yeah, the big objective for me is going to be that Elder Drake now. We know how big of a difference that can make. Clement was talking about it yesterday as well, that 20% execution in team fights can very quickly turn the tide of a battle. If Rogue Warriors could steal that away, they might be in a good spot, but Estars have their sights set on the Baron, looking to get control back of the jungle that was taken. So Rogue Warriors have a moment to breathe, but it's only going to be a moment.
We'll see what they're going to do with that moment. Nobody even close to willing to contest Wink on that minion wave there. Rogue Warriors very happy to stay a little bit further back here. Bear in mind, this is the debut game for both of these teams. This is the debut game ever for Estar. Like, not just the first game of the split, this is the first game as an organization in League of Legends, and now they're onto the Baron. They're so far ahead in terms of damage, and Xiaoxi and Crying are going to look to punish Lei here. The team fight goes on in. Solar Flare stops the bullet time. Xiaoxi is so deep on this one, and the rest of his team not really there to follow up. Support for support traded.
I mean, how many times have we said the word Xiaoxi has gone so deep there?
Oh no! Way with the flash to save the day. Oh my goodness.
That was a little bit of a close one. I think the heart stopped when he saw that cast come in his direction, but does manage to flash away from that. But it doesn't change the fact that, again, we're seeing Xiaoxi going that little bit too far, doesn't have to follow up the rest of the team. Crying actually got stuck completely out of that fight because of the bullet time, tried to back away. The ignite that was ticking onto the Talia meant they couldn't take the Weaver's Wall, so that fight looked a little bit wonky for Estars as a result, but support for support, and the Baron dance will kick off once again.
And I mean, now as we start to get towards these late game team fights that we're going to see, you know, team fights repeated and repeated here, you have to go back to the draft and wonder, what was the plan letting Wink get Aphelios here? Like, because there doesn't seem to be that much in the composition of Rogue Warriors that can answer for that damage.
Definitely seems to be the case. I was thinking Rogue Warriors maybe wanted to try and, you know, speed up this game a little bit, get themselves to a decent mid game where you've got the likes of the Lucian and the MF who are going to be doing good work. But of course, you've still got that insurance card in your back pocket in the Gangplank who can take over a side lane. The biggest problem is that Estars aren't given the opportunity for Holder to try and set up these side lanes in a way that's beneficial for Rogue Warriors, because they're always trying to fight.
Well, now on towards the mid lane. Rogue Warrior is going to push this minion wave in, but it'll be comfortably cleared by the likes of Talia here. Crying 6-1-13 this game. Had such a huge impact. Excellent use of the seismic shoves as well during these team fights. It can be an amazing ability, can be appalling depending who's piloting it. So far, Crying showing us that he knows how to use this pick effectively.
I'd still love to see him off way, actually.
Always in trouble, and he goes down immediately. Dredgeline will not land, though, and it's actually going to be Lei finished off. No, walks away with his life. Explosive Barrel is going to knock everyone asunder here as Xiaobai has found himself alone, trying to finish off Wooming. Moonlight Vigil won't do too much. Xiaobai does get one before going down here. Actually, he goes golden, and Wink follows up. What is going on? Xiaobai, the hero. Wink doing so much damage as Cry gets another one. Lei will go down, and it all falls to tatters for Rogue Warriors.
Rogue Warriors are aced in that team fight. Xiaobai with the massive play, getting directly in onto Wooming. There was nowhere for the Lucian to run in the Death Realm, and now Estars are going to be able to crack open this base.
I saw Wei go down. I was like, well, that's a Baron for Rogue Warriors. How wrong I was. Estar now going to push on in. They've got ages of time to walk this one through. 2 turrets remain, and nobody will be alive to stop them. Comfortably finishing this one off, and what a debut performance from Estar. They take their first win of the LPL.
I do want to bring it back a little bit though, because that was one game of our series